Hey, what's up guys? Matt here. Welcome to my book review for The Shining by Stephen King. We are into spooky season. I'm excited. We're gearing up for October this year. It's September 25th. And I read Stephen King's The Shining. I bought this book in January last year, or maybe February last year, and haven't gotten around to read it, and now I'm reading it and I'm excited. I've got my review written here. This book came out in 1977, so there are spoilers abound, but I'm going to try not to spoil anything. So if you don't want to be spoiled, shy away. I don't have anything specifically too spoiler, but decide for yourself. Here we go. This was an absolute treat to read. This book was scary, exciting, and really fun to read. There were twists and turns all over the place. Like I said, the book was released in 1977, so there were a lot of things that you could have been spoiled for, but it didn't really change much. There was a movie that came out about this movie, but after reading this book and watching a bit of the movie, it's a little bit different, so here or there for that. But this was awesome. I really enjoyed reading this book. I enjoyed the story. I am impressed with Stephen King's writing. I'd only ever listened to Carrie, Stephen King's first release novel, but this was awesome. I'm actually going to be listening to Carrie after I get in the car or whatever, or listen to the story again to maybe write a review. I never really initially wrote a review for that, but we'll get to that. I loved the supernatural elements to this story. That was something that I really enjoyed. It was cleverly woven in to these real-world characters, and it was just really an interesting story throughout. I really, really enjoyed it. I think it is important to point out that I generally read fantasy. I don't really read much other than fantasy. I try to read some science fiction. I've read Dune. I've tried to read Leviathan Wakes by James S.A. Corey, but I've tried to read that maybe twice now, and I keep stopping. I was reading that, and then I switched over to The Shining, so we'll see if I ever get back to that. But I generally read fantasy, but this being a departure into the horror is exciting because I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. Like I said, I'm probably not going to spoil much, but I'd like you, if you've not read it, to go in as blind as you can to this story because it's a good story. You will enjoy it, I think. I wanted to be scared by this book, and I was. There were some scary parts. I wasn't so scared that I couldn't read this book in the dark or anything like that, but I did read it, and it was good, and it was a little scary. The characters were very well developed and very believable. The setting was expertly crafted, and Stephen King really does a great job communicating isolation. That's something that is very prevalent throughout this whole story. Also, a very solid ending. Now, we're going to transition into the review scores. I like, this is a good book. This is 660 pages. It's a good book. So here we go. Review scores. Emotional impact, 5. I was hooked as soon as the story started, and throughout, a great story. Characters, 5 out of 5. These characters were absolutely incredibly well written. Solid motivations, very smart, very real characters, and separated very well. Sometimes you read stories where some characters say certain things and you don't know who said what, but you know certainly who said what in this book. Plot, 5 out of 5. Something that I like to communicate about this story is that it's believable. But obviously, the quote, the shine or shining, is not real. But I think it's an exciting, scary, and well-developed plot. Prose, 5 out of 5. Stephen King is great with his prose. I am impressed with how he communicates. Beautiful, real, exciting, very well described atmosphere, and again, isolation and fear. It's incredible. World building, 5 out of 5. this is something that I was impressed with. The Shining and The Shine is something that I had no idea what it was going into the story, and it was well developed. It shows throughout. It's great. I don't want to spoil this for you. It was well executed and well described, and the world was described well. There were hints of more to come in the world, and I'm excited to read because there is a sequel to Stephen King's The Shining, which he wrote 1977. He wrote Dr. Sleep. That was published in 2013. So we got some more Shining world to go through. But that's my review. I really enjoyed this. I'm excited to read on. You might see another video where you see my next book that I'm reading. It might be another Stephen King book. All right. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Enjoy spooky season.